All right, welcome everybody to another CPSS Prep webinar. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Daniel Yu. I'm the sports scientist and strength coach for the Orlando Magic. Typically, we have my co-host Nick here. He's the athletic trainer and PT for the Charlotte Hornets, but they have a game tonight, so he won't be able to make it. Really excited to announce today's guest, though, Dr. Ernest Eugene. Ernest is currently the head athletic trainer for the Orlando Magic and has over a decade of experience in the NBA. He's the chair-elect of the NBATA, National Basketball Athletic Training Association, and also has held leadership roles at Virginia Tech and Marquette, including assistant athletics director and director of sports medicine. Ernest brings so much experience with us, and I'm so excited to have him share with us all today about the soft skill side of sports science. And with that, I'll hand it over to Ernest. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for being here today. Really appreciate it. Uh, I like to call this presentation. This is more like tidbits or tricks of the trade that I've learned throughout the course of my experience. This doesn't mean it's the end all be all. It doesn't mean that this is the way it has to be done. So I'm very curious to hear from you guys as fellow practitioners, that may be seasoned in our profession or newcomers into the professions, and kind of want to hear what you guys have to say about it too. Okay. So without further ado, as Daniel mentioned, we're going to talk about networking. We're going to talk about professional development, and we're going to talk about interprofessional collaboration. I think that third one is probably one of the most important ones we're going to talk about. So bear with me here, okay? All right. So this is my background, just so you know, and some of you guys that are on here, I do know. Some of you I don't know, and I don't put this background on here just to like portray all these great positions or great things that I've done in my career thus far. I don't put it for that reason. The only reason why I put it on here is because throughout all of these positions, there's one common trend and one common theme, and that's I've never had to necessarily apply or seek out a position. And it's always been the reverse where someone connects me to someone that is in that position or someone that I know that's already at that organization or at that school, etc., that's helped me get my foot in the door, if you would, so I can be as fortunate as I was to obtain some of these positions. So let's talk about some of these. Um, we're not going to talk about them. I'm sorry. Next thing, everybody has career goals, right? Everyone wants to work in the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, all the Power Four conferences. Everybody wants to make it into elite level athletics. Some of you are in level athletics. Some of you all inspire to still be in elite level athletics, and that's completely fine. But some don't have that goal. Some people have goals of being in a clinical practice, like owning and this big thing, and especially an athletic trainer. As an athletic trainer, it's big. People are going into entrepreneurship. Some people have goals of being in a high school setting, performing arts, whatever your goals are, there's got to be a way for you to get there. And that's what I want to talk about, okay? Uh, whatever your goals are, to me, in our positions as athletic trainers, as PTs, as sports scientists, nutritionists, etc., our goals should be these three things. We want to serve people. We want to meet a lot of people throughout the course of serving people, and we want to develop relationships. And when I say relationships, we want to develop meaningful relationships. So, what I mean by that is, I don't want to meet somebody at a conference and then 3 years from now, because at that person's organization, there's a job opening that I'm interested in, and I'm reconnecting with them 3 years from now. They're not going to remember me 3 years from now. But if I stay in touch with them, which we're going to talk about that process, and I do the different things that I need to do to develop a relationship with them, when that job comes open, I won't even need to reach out to them because they're going to be like, oh, it's Daniel. And I spoke to Daniel 2 months ago. So I bet he'd be interested because I know so much about Daniel in developing this relationship with them. So let me call him and let me gather his thoughts and his interest level. And a lot of our career goals, I hope it's yours, because it's definitely mine, everybody's, is to make a lot of money in the shortest amount of time. Because if you make a lot of money in the shortest amount of time, guess what you get to do? You get to retire and enjoy retirement and don't have to go to work every day. But some people, that's not their drive and that's not their motivation. But a lot of people, that's their drive and that's their motivation. So that's something to keep in mind there as well. So I know there's a lot of talk about it's not what you know, it's who you know. I think it's a little bit about both. I was just talking with a colleague earlier today, and the biggest thing that we said is what you know gets you in the door. I'm sorry, who you know gets you in the door, what you know keeps you inside the door. Meaning what you know or who you know is going to get you the opportunity to interview, who you know is going to get you the opportunity to get face to face with those decision makers for that job. But then what you know is going to be revealed very quickly from day one. And if you don't have the educational competence, if you don't have the internship, volunteer opportunities, experiences, etc., if you don't have the certification, the licensure, the skill set, that's going to be revealed real quick. So to me, it's who you know and it's what you know. I know they say it's not who you know, it's I mean, what you know, it's who you know. I think it's both. And that's very important to realize. The who you know part is very, very important. Let's not forget that. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. I wholeheartedly believe that because when you meet somebody, immediately when they lay eyes on you, they're going to immediately make a judgment of you, who you are, from how you speak, how you carry yourself, your demeanor, and it's the little soft skills. So when you shake their hand to say, "Hey, pleasure to meet you," did you look at them in the eye? When you shake your hand to meet them, did you say, he goes, "Hey, my name is Daniel," and I should say, I shouldn't go, "Hey, nice to meet you," and look down, but I should go, "Oh, hello, Daniel, nice to meet you." Now I've repeated their name, so hopefully I commit that to memory at that point, and then I know, okay, now that I know I repeated their name, I've got their interest, and I'm going to remember who they are, and they're going to remember who I am. So let's talk about this for a little bit. Let's say I'm at a conference, and let's say I go to a clinical conference, let's call it a sports scientist conference, and I meet someone. So immediately when I meet someone, and everybody's about technology these days, so we're going to go with the technology side of it. I'm immediately when I meet someone, I could meet them at dinner, I could meet them walking through a conference hall, I could meet them at uh, like a local establishment, like a restaurant or a bar, etc. I should just make a quick note in my phone. Daniel Yu, sports scientist, Orlando Magic. Next person I meet. Okay, Nick. I met Nick, Charlotte Hornets, ATPT. I met him. And then that keeps my running list. So when I get back from that conference or I get back to wherever I go from there, I can then reconnect with that person. It doesn't have to be that same day. It's almost like it needs to be a few days later. Let them forget about you a little bit and then reintroduce yourself again. And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I do remember meeting Daniel. I was at dinner. It was at that seafood restaurant, and he came over to me, introduced himself. What a great young man." And so now that I've established a relationship with Daniel, and I know Daniel works for Orlando Magic, I've got to find a way to stay in touch with Daniel. And I'm going to give you my strategy on that and my belief on that. And I've got to find a way to stay in touch. So immediately I'm going to go, okay, what does Daniel do? He works for the Orlando Magic. Well, Orlando Magic, basketball in the NBA starts October 1st usually. So I know Daniel's going to be busy come October 1st. So if I want to stay in touch with Daniel, I've got to find ways to work around his schedule, but to still make myself relevant. So what I like to do is if I'm looking to stay in touch with Daniel, October 1st is a great time. I kind of break it down. I go per quarter of the year. So we all know the year works Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 when you're talking finances. So if October is Q4, and that's from October 1st to December 31st, I got to find a way to touch Daniel one time. And what I mean by that is I've got to find a way to connect with them. And my ways to connect with them, I can either write him a note, I could call him, I can email him, or I can text him. And it all depends on what methods of communication do I have for Daniel. So if I call Daniel, "Hey Daniel, I know you guys getting started with the season. Just wanted to wish you good luck." It's a voicemail. Daniel may never return my voicemail, but I know he got it because at some point it's going to be a Saturday night and Daniel's like, "Oh, let me catch up on this. I finally got a moment to breathe." And then all of a sudden he's going to call and he's going to go, "Oh, yeah, thanks for your voicemail. I appreciate it." He may not call back, but at least I know he got it. Another great opportunity for me. So the Magic win a thrilling overtime game against pick a team and it's all over ESPN. Oh, that's Daniel's team. let me call Daniel and say, hey, or let me text Daniel and go, hey, Daniel, great game. Just wanted to let you know I'm rooting for you guys. Now we keep going. Q1 comes around, so now we're in January through March, through the end of March, and Daniel's doing well, the team's doing well, they're making a playoff push, whatever that may be. I get another chance to hit Daniel. And then Q2, more off season for Daniel. I can hit Daniel again. Hey, great season, Daniel. So now I'm doing all these things to get to Daniel. I'm keeping myself fresh in Daniel's mind every day with the different things I'm doing. And eventually, when there comes an opportunity, might it be with the Orlando Magic, might it be outside of the Orlando Magic, might it be elsewhere, Daniel's going to go, you know what? Ernest has really been doing a great job of staying in touch with me. So you know what? Let me see if he'd be interested. He just called me the other day, or he just texted me the other day, or he just sent me an email. Here's his email. Let me just send him a quick note and see if he has an interest. That's how you stay fresh in people's minds, but not meeting them once and don't say anything to them for 3 years. Uh, so that's extremely important when you are trying to build relationships with people and network. Okay. So who is in your network when you're trying to develop a network? Well, I know there's some students on here right now. So it starts with like your professors, your TAs, your GAs that you work with. It starts with your clinical supervisor. Those are people that are going to vouch for you. And it's always important when you're in a job, be in the moment, live in the moment, right? It's important for you to go, hey, I'm going to do a really good job for this person and I'm going to give it my all. I'm not in this job to find my next one. I'm in this job to impress this one. Because if I am in this job to impress the person that I'm working for now, they're going to go bat for you. And I know with every profession, uh, it's probably the same, but as an athletic trainer, I could speak for our profession for sure. People want to hire people that know people that they've worked for because I'm going to give you a great example, and I use this with a lot with students. When you're applying for a job, and I know we're in a day and age right now where they don't necessarily print resumes anymore and everything is electronic, but I'm going to give you the version of a printed form of it. You're applying for a job and resumes start coming in, paper starts coming in, paper starts coming in, and it gets all stacked up. And then there could be 500 people applying for one job. So again, now that's 500 resumes sitting on the side of someone's desk. And you think they're really going to go through them? They're not going to go through them. But if someone calls on your behalf to go, hey, I know someone that just applied for your position. So let's say someone calls Ernest and says, hey, Ernest, I know somebody that's just applied for a position with you guys and I know that person and I know that person's credibility. That person's resume is going to immediately go from that pile of 500 to the pile of 10 that people are really going to look at. And when you get to that pile of 10 that you're really going to look at, that's the who you know part. Who you know got you to that pile of 10. Now, what you know is what's going to get you from that pile of 10 to be one of one, essentially. So that's why who you work for, what you've done when you develop this network of people is extremely important because as you work for these people and develop this credibility of I'm a hard worker, I show up on time, I do XYZ 1, 2, 3, that's what gets you to that pile of 10. And then you really get a chance to show yourself. And it doesn't mean the 490 that didn't get picked, it doesn't mean they're not great people and not great clinicians, but it just means they didn't have somebody to call on their behalf. So, as students, and for the students that are on here, as students, I think it's important for you to always be able to connect those dots. And if you can't connect those dots, well, you didn't do your part enough in researching who you're applying for or where you're applying for. So, if I'm applying for a position and I know the people that are there, I need to figure out who what their bios are, where they've been, and who do I know that knows them. Because the worst thing that can happen is you're applying for something and then all of a sudden someone calls someone else that they know and you didn't connect that dot first. So you've got to always know who's in your network, know their background, especially the people you've worked for, your professors, etc., because that's going to help you get to that next step for sure. Okay. And where do you develop these networks? You develop these networks in the classroom setting for your students. You develop them in professional meetings, social settings, continuing ed. You develop them informally too. We all know, like we go to a conference and people want to hang loose and let loose a little bit. And then when you go to these social settings, you still have to represent yourself as a professional. So you're still gonna be able to have a conversation and have those professional conversations because that's gonna because you're still being judged. You're still being determined of who is really who Ernest is. Even if he's not in suit and tie or he's not in a jacket walking through a big convention hall, you're still being judged by your peers on who you are. So we're still developing our network no matter what the setting that we're in. But that's just a few examples of those settings right there. So how do we develop these networks? So I talked about this, and I like to use this acronym WCET. It stands for write, call, email, or text. So if I have a network of people, so pretend it's like the Verizon network, right? I have a network of people. There's like 100 people in my network. I've got to find a way to touch I've got to find a way to touch these people constantly. And as I was using the example with Daniel earlier, I've got to get to them once a quarter. And I either got to write them a note, a handwritten note, which people don't do anymore, and put it in the mail and let them receive it in their mailbox. And they're like, man, that person took their time out to do that. Or I've got to send them a call or make a call to them. I've got to send them an email or I've got to send them a text. So, a coach that I once worked with, he used to write four people a day, call four people a day, email four people a day, and text four people a day. So that's 16 people. So if you go 16 people, and he does that every day for 30 days, that's 480 people. Now, I'm not saying we all know 480 people in our profession, but you'll be surprised how many people you know. So based on how many people you know, you've got to find a system that works for you that says, I got to write, I've got to call, I've got to email, I've got to text. We all have those long drives home from work or drives into the office. When I'm driving home from work or driving into the office, I try to go, who am I going to call today? Who am I going to interact with today? And I just put that person on the speaker or through the car, through the car, and I'm like, or through whatever it's called, Apple yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. But I just put that person on and I go, okay, this is who I'm going to call today. And I connect with them. But when you're trying to connect with people too, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, it's not just people in your profession. So for us that's in pro settings, for instance, I'm not just trying to connect with other high performance professionals. I also want to connect with GMs. I also want to connect with coaches. Also want to connect with presidents. I also want to connect with ownership because those people are part of your network that make you who you are as well. So let's not forget that. So, so how do we develop them? Correct. You can do face to face. So I'm at a conference, I meet somebody face to face, cold introduction, simple introduction. I can meet them through another colleague, very true, and I can meet them via email or on social media. Whatever my way of doing that is, or whatever method I use, I got to value that opportunity. And I show I value that opportunity by following through and following up on what needs to occur for me to stay in touch with that person. Okay. Again, we talked about how do you stay in touch. There's thank you notes. So, hey, pleasure meeting you at a conference. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me. Thank you for dinner. Thank you for that Starbucks. Wishing them congrats and good luck. Might it be congrats on making the playoffs or good luck with the postseason or whatever it is. Always finding ways to do that. And I still do that today with NFL colleagues, with MLB colleagues, with Power Four colleagues, college colleagues, whatever it is. I still try to find a way to always keep myself relevant to them and them relevant to me. Okay. Um, and handwritten, not like I said earlier, not a lot of people does handwritten notes anymore. It goes a long way when somebody opens their mailbox or they get home and they see a note from you. They're like, "Oh my gosh, it's a handwritten note." Like that goes a long way versus you going, "I met 100 people. Let me just copy and paste this email to 100 different people and change the name on the top." It's more personable when you can send a handwritten note. So that's just a tip that I believe in. Okay. Um, Again, these networks develop clinically, develop personally, develop professionally. So now let's talk about professional development. So we talked about the network. How are you going to network? How are you going to get your name out there? How you're going to do that? Now your professional development. For you students that are on here, the day you graduate, you've passed your exam as an ATC or whatever it is. Now you start to build your brand. You start to build your philosophy. Someone should be able to ask you what your mission statement is. You should have a mission statement. It should be 20 words or less. And it should be like, this is what I'm about. If someone said, how do you practice your skill set? This is how I practice my skill set. That's your brand. And you're going to start to build your brand, and your philosophy is going to be developed from that. And whatever that is, always write it down. I know people say documentation is important. Write down what it is. So, what do I mean by build your brand? What do you want to be known for? What are you passionate about? What do you want to contribute to the profession? Daniel and I talk about this all the time. Servant leadership is important. So servant leadership, if you're not into servant leadership, if you haven't read oh man, the author just escaped me, but he has a book on servant leadership. It's called Leaders Eat Last. Uh, you should probably learn about that because we're all in the business of serving others. So servant leadership is extremely, extremely, extremely important. I can't emphasize that enough. And whatever it is that you do, be passionate about it. And if you're not passionate about it, well, you're not going to get very far with it. So if you're going to build your brand, be passionate about your brand. Okay. Um, how are you going to develop your philosophy? How are you going to practice? Because when you get certified, when you get licensed, you know the bare minimums for your profession at that point. No offense to anybody that is right at the cusp of doing that, but that is the truth. So now you want to build your brand from there. You want to specialize in it, whatever it is you're going to specialize. So that's how you build your philosophy. And whatever your philosophy is and whatever your beliefs are, just make sure it's evidence based. It's always got to be evidence based. And in my setting, evidence based medicine, evidence based, evidence based, evidence based. Okay. And like I said, write it down. Document your interactions, document your brand, document your philosophies. Because someone should be able to say, what's your mission? You may walk in an interview one day and someone says, hey, what's your mission? Like, what is your mission statement? You should be able to rattle it off immediately and go, rattle it off. My mission statement is this. This is who I am. This is what I believe in. This is how I practice. Okay. Now let's talk about interprofessional collaboration. So we talked about philosophy develop or professional development. We talked about networking. I think this is probably the most important thing on here is the interprofessional collaboration. So there's interprofessional and interdepartmental. I'm gonna separate those two. So interprofessional is within your own field, your own organization. So that's connecting with GMs, that's connecting with sports scientists and nutritionists. For me as an athletic trainer, my interprofessionals are now connecting with other people in other professions or in other realms that still make up our organization, that still make up our athletic department for those in the collegiate setting. But interdepartmental is within your own high performance staff. So that's your also, but within your department, your nutritionist, your sports psychologist, your sports scientist, your strength and conditioning coaches, your ATs, your PTs, massage therapists. But when you're looking at interprofessional versus interdepartmental, it starts with three things. You always have to have inclusion, you always have to have respect and open-mindedness. What do I mean by inclusion? I mean, if I'm in a staff meeting and there are other people in a staff meeting that may have an opinion as a professional, I can't shoot them down immediately. I can't go, no, that's stupid. Or I can't go, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a nutritionist. You have no idea about AT. You have no idea about rehab. That might not be their specialty, but they have a right to make an opinion on what we're discussing. Because at the end of the day, we're all here to work together to put the best product out on the field or on the court or whatever our setting is. Okay. So it starts with respect too. So inclusion is important. Everyone should be heard. Everyone should be, we should listen. I'm sorry, we should hear, not to just hear, but we should hear to listen. Because a lot of people hear things, and before the words come out of the person's mouth that they're saying, we've already got a rebuttal. A lot of people literally sit tense like this, waiting to rebuttal on something, where we should take a step back, listen to what's being said by our peers, and then from there, we should make opinions. And we should respectfully have that conversation. It doesn't mean a person that's a nutritionist does can't teach me something about my field. And it doesn't mean me as an athletic trainer can't teach a nutritionist something about their field. That's being respectful. We've got to all be respectful. We've got to be all open-minded to the different ways we're doing things because uh, I may be in a setting and I may have been in that setting for, I've been an athletic trainer now for over 20 years. So because I've been an athletic trainer for over 20 years and I've worked in basketball for X number of years, it doesn't mean I know everything as an athletic trainer or that an athletic trainer does in basketball. I don't know it all. And even though I have that experience level, I don't know it all. So that's why I've got to be able to depend on my colleagues and my peers because I may have colleagues that have seen it done a different way. They may be athletic trainers, they may not be athletic trainers. So inclusion is important. Respect is important. Having an open mind is important. And I know you guys see the big letters in red down on the bottom. Never, ever, ever have an ego. If we are on a team as an interdepartmental, I'm sorry, interdepartmental team, and our performance team, like for the Magic, is comprised of 12 people, and we can't have a conversation, and I go, oh, I'm the athletic trainer, and when it comes to treatment and rehab and taping, it's me, 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 me. I don't need to be a part of that team because I'm bringing the team down. We need to not have egos. So my philosophy is when we walk through that door in the morning, put your egos and leave it outside. Because if you have an ego, you don't deserve to be on this team and you will not succeed with this team because egos hurt the entire process. I've seen it. I've seen it happen and it cannot happen. So if there's anything that I tell you guys, you can't have an ego. You can't be like, oh yeah, I know better than anybody. This is me. This is my domain. This is what I do. No. Now, you want to have a respectful conversation with someone about and have a respectful debate about something? Absolutely, you can do that. But you can't have an ego and say no one can teach me because this person's in year one and I'm in year 20, whatever. So that's extremely important to always, always, always remember when it comes to interprofessional collaboration. Okay. So, like I was talking about the high performance department. So, our high performance department is made up of what I call five different domains. So, to me, that's performance nutrition, performance science, strength and conditioning, athletic medicine or sports medicine, whatever you want to call that, and performance psych. So, everybody in within that department have different roles and responsibilities. Everybody has different specialties. Everybody has different things that they're really, really, really good at. But in a setting like at a college, and I'm going to go, let's say you're at a mid-major college or something like that, it's almost like at that setting, sometimes you don't have the funding to have a nutritionist. And sometimes the AT might also be the strength and conditioning coach. And the sports scientist, the sports science realm is kind of like shared amongst the two of them, and they're doing different things. So you're kind of a jack of all trades, but they say master of none. No disrespect to anybody that's in those positions, but it doesn't mean that you can't do that and do it at a high level. But when you're in the high performance department, everyone needs to take a step back and it needs to be more like collaboration. So if I have a nutritionist that's very good in the nutrition realm, I need to depend on them. I need to be able to collaborate with them. I need to be able to speak with them. And if I have Daniel Yu, who's one of the best sports scientists in the world. Yeah, I said that, Daniel. I need to be able to work with them. I need to be able to collaborate with them. And together, we can build this great program. And if we can build this great program together, then we got the best product that we can put on the floor. And that's how you achieve success. And when you achieve success on the court and the players are doing well, or on the field and the players doing well, they say everybody eats, right? Everybody eats. Uh, everybody gains from those fruits that get obtained from that. So everybody's fruitful from that. That's what I'm trying to say. So whatever it is that is your role, master your role. And it doesn't mean you can't learn nutrition. It doesn't mean you can't be a sports science. It doesn't mean you can't be a CSCS. But whatever it is that you're hired to do within that high performance department, do it at the highest level possible. Master it because people are going to depend on you for that. And when people depend on you for that and you can master it at a high level, then you're going to be valued by your peers and throughout your circles. Okay. And again, I'm saying it again, never ever have an ego. Okay. So I'm going to wrap up here and we're going to have time for questions and we'll stay here till Christmas if we need to answer questions until then. That's totally fine because I'm very, very passionate about it. But one of my take home facts, number one, be passionate. Be passionate in everything that you do in this world. I don't care if it's your profession. I don't care if it's with your family. I don't care what it is. Be passionate about it. And whatever it is that you're doing, might it be I'm on vacation with my family or I am working for a postseason draw, whatever it is, be passionate about it and do it at a high level. Number two, always know you're serving people in this world, and we're in the business of service. And if you don't like serving people, I would say you're in the wrong business because that's what we do 25/8. I know it's 24/7. I said 25/8. One extra day, one extra hour. We're in the business of serving people. So be passionate, and be ready to serve people. And the third thing I would say is always do a great job of staying in touch with your peers, staying in touch with the different professionals that you meet. Again, the professionals don't mean they're only in your circle, in your domain. I'm talking about coaches, presidents, ADs, etc. Stay in touch with those individuals. And you guys know what number four is because you can see it in big red letters again. Never, ever have an ego. Because the minute we have egos, that's a breakdown of departments. And when we have breakdown of departments, no one succeeds. All right. Thank you guys for letting me present. Again, I'm here for questions. I don't have all the answers, but this is something that I'm very passionate about. And so when Daniel and Nick came to me and says, "Hey, uh, what would you like to speak about?" This was automatically number one on my list of what I wanted to speak about. All right. So let me know. Okay, let me get back to the Zoom and see you guys. Perfect. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, suggestions.
Man, that was awesome, E. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you guys. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate the opportunity.
I'll say I actually do have a question.
Ah, thank you.
My name's Alicia. Hi,
Hi, Alicia. Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. So I have a kind of a loaded question, but I started building some good relationships, and I had an opportunity to apply for a job outside of basketball or outside of college, and I knew someone in that position who came from it, and there was like six jobs that opened up. I felt so weird, just like asking this person to call these coaches or whoever it was for me for all six positions. So I kind of broke down like the three that I really wanted. And then the fourth one, I didn't have them reach out to them for me because I'm like, I don't want to keep bothering this person. And then that fourth one was like, well, you would have got the job if you would have had someone reach out for you.
Hmm.
So my question is like, even though I had a good relationship with this person, like I don't want to bother them. Like when is it become too much, I guess?
Um, Great question. I think you're right. You don't want them to call six different people and put their neck
Yeah,
out there for six different people jobs, and then all of a sudden you get offered number four and you go, "Nah, I really didn't want number four." I think you've got to take that list and go, "Here's my top three." And they need to know who that top three is. And they need to go hard at number one, a little less hard at number two, and go, "Yeah, she has an interest, so let me know for number three." I
fair
think
enough.
as an and are you in what field are you in?
I'm collegiate basketball.
An athletic trainer
But oh, I
or
was strength conditioning. Sorry,
strength and
strength
conditioning?
conditioning.
So I know, and I'm sure S&C is the same way, but I know people love to, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but people love to help others find success and connect with others in regards to a job. Like I could be doing anything, and someone says, "Hey, I need your help with this for a position." I immediately go, "Oh, I gotta go. I gotta go, Alicia," because she's like, that's my girl. She called me like, I gotta go because I remember how well she worked for me or how well she, whatever it was a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago, that now I'm ready to run through a wall for her because she
Right.
ran through a wall for me every day. So uh, I think people do take pride in that and they don't mind doing that. I think though, when you do that, you've got to be ready to go, yeah, this job is for me. Meaning, if someone's calling on your behalf for a job, you've got to go, I definitely want this job and will take this job. And the only way I won't take this job is something through the process deters me away from it. So as long as you have that mindset, I think people will do that for you.
Fair enough. Okay. Thank you.
Great question. Thank you.
Hi, I actually had a question as well.
Yes, sir.
Uh, my name's Quinn. I'm a second year physical therapy student at Northeastern. But
Okay.
up to this point in my career, I feel like I've had a lot more experience on the strength conditioning and sports science side. But you talked a little bit about like the being a master or a jack of all trades and master of none. And you also mentioned a bit about like building your brand and being able to make a mission statement in 20 words or less. So I'm kind of curious, like with my experiences, I feel like I kind of have had a lot of experiences in a lot of different areas. So I was wondering if you have any advice on kind of like taking all this like knowledge and experiences that I have and distilling it down and kind of creating a philosophy and being able to make a mission statement from all of these different experiences.
Yeah, I think the mission statement, and sorry for not looking at the screen, but I'm writing as I'm talking because that's what I do. But I think the mission statement needs to reflect who you are as a like what your work ethic is. Like your drive, what motivates you. Are you an innovator? That needs to be your mission statement. And yeah, your mission statement could be, I want to be the best physical therapist with this. Yeah, it could be something like that, but they already know some of that stuff, right? They're getting that you're a second year PT and you have the S&C background and all of that. They're getting that in the resume. And what can you tell them in your mission statement about you, specifically you, that they can't see in your resume? And I think that's extremely important when you're building that mission statement. So, yeah, I want to be an innovator in this when it comes to PT. I want to be an innovator in cardiac rehab. Let's say that's what it was. I want to be an innovator in cardiac rehabs, focusing on XYZ one, two, whatever it is. Now they're getting a little bit of what you're wanting to do, but they're getting more about who you are as a person, what your mindset is, what your philosophies are, how you work with people, how you what motivates you, what drives you, what you're passionate about, and they're getting that in your mission statement. I think that's superb. Like people are seeing are like, oh, this that's gonna make you stand out than all the other resumes that come through to them. My opinion.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the presentation.
No problem. Thank you. Great question.
No worries.
Hey, Ernest. This is Terrace Hightower.
Terrence, how you doing, man?
Good, good. Long time no talk.
Yes, sir.
Uh, so, question for you. I've been out of the league for what is it, about 4 years now, and just finished up my physical therapy degree. And kind of like our last guy's question, where I have immense passion about one thing. I've been developing a lot of education and things around foot and ankle. And, I've equally worked as a strength coach, an athletic trainer, performance therapist, and looking to figure out what is the best, I guess, to me, ethical way about applying for different roles that come out, whether it be a strength coach role versus a PT role versus an AT role, and not feeling like I'm just trying to um, apply to any role just to get in, and staying also true to like
I think I
foot and
lost you.
ankle, and treatment, rehab. So just thoughts.
I lost you a little bit at the end there, but completely hear what you're saying. And I think, yeah, getting into the NBA, that's a tough circle, obviously, right? And people want to be able to have those opportunities to get into the NBA and all of that. And I think whatever it is, the role that you would play in that, I think your expertise as an AT, S&C, and now PT, that brings value to an organization, right? And that brings value to what you're doing. But at the same time, I think whatever role it is that you're hired to do, master that role. And that would be my advice looking at it from that angle versus, oh, I'm going to do whatever it takes to have a role. Because
Yeah.
if you pass your CPSS and you have no desire to be a sports scientist, but that sports opportunity exists in the NBA for you to be in the NBA, I don't think I would do that because I think you're going to try to do other things that's not within your realm, even though you may have other your experience in that. So I think if you're comfortable enough saying, I'm comfortable doing the duty that I've been assigned to do and mastering that role, the value that you bring with all your other experiences would be enormous to a team.
All right.
So to answer your question, I would say if as long as you're passionate about the role that you've been hired to do or you're being asked to be come on to do, I would say absolutely you should do that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
No worries.
Hi,
Talia, how you doing?
good. So I'm Natalia. I'm a second year athletic training student finishing up my last semester. And I saw a question or a comment in the chat that basically was asking, when is it too late to reach out to someone after you've been kind of like caught up in your own bubble for quite some time? So, for example, I met someone at NATA last year, and this person didn't have social media. They're not in practice anymore. So I found it hard for me to kind of find a time to reach out or even find a common ground to reach out on because of this. So eventually I just never reached out, and I'm not even sure I would even consider that person even remembering me.
Great question. I would, by the way, Tara, it's a great question too. Sorry for not saying that earlier. Uh, but to answer your question, Natalia, I think it's still okay to reach out to him. And let me preface it by saying this first. And I kind of wanted to say this earlier, and I forgot to say this. Uh, for those of you on here that know me, know of me, or know me, I should say, and know me outside of athletic training, I'm kind of a family person too, and that's where I'm going to lead to your question, Natalia. So, just like we're trying to be really good at this profession and doing this at a high level, make sure we're putting that same time into our family and loved ones as well. And right now, like for instance, our schedule's a little crazy right now, and got back Monday night, leaving again Thursday, or Sunday night, leaving again Thursday. Sometimes family suffers at that point, but it's okay to still put back into your family later when it comes off season, when it comes vacation, et cetera, et cetera. And don't feel guilty for stepping away from what you're doing on a daily basis and the grind that you're in daily and stepping away from it to give back time to your family. So going back to your question, Natalia, I think it's okay to still reach out to that person because even though they're not in the profession, they're human, right? They still have loved ones, families. They still have feelings. I think it's okay to still reach out to them. And maybe that'll spark an interest in them to go, hey, let's talk about this again. Or let's talk about this AT thing again. Or I've been thinking, I wanted to introduce you to this person. Now, that allows you still to connect with them, and that may draw a new connection because someone else might be in the position that they were in that they want you to now meet. So, I think it's okay to still reach out to them. Now, if you told them 5 years from now and you go, hey, you remember me? That's probably a little too long, but I think 12 months, it's okay. It's okay. Then you just reestablish that connection again. And the reason why I thought of the family thing when you said that is because you may reach out to them. It has nothing to do with AT, nothing to do with performance, sports med, nothing. And you go, how are you? Just checking in on you. How are you as a person? How's your family? How's your loved ones? Is there anything I can do for you? And that's one thing that I like to do as well. And I didn't mention this earlier as well. What can I do for you? Because when we reach out to people, we always need something. Rightfully so. It's human nature, right? But it's okay to go, can I help you? How can I help you? What can I do for you? That just makes the person feel like, wow, you want to help me? You want to do something for me? Like, amazing. And they may not need anything, but it's just the thought of that that counts. So that's another approach that you could take. Hey, just checking in, seeing how you're doing. How's life? Making sure you're okay. Is there anything I can do to help you? That's it. Great question.
Thank you. Sounds good.
All right, we're coming up on our hour mark, so we just want to be mindful of Ernest's time. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining us here today. We do have one final question, and then we'll cap it off here.
Okay.
This is from Blair Hennessy. He says that they work for a semi-pro hockey team as the head therapist, strength coach, but also the applied sports scientist, the jack of all trades scenario. They're building their reputation and starting to apply for pro sport jobs at the NHL level, but have a ton of imposter syndrome when filling in applications. Any advice around moving through that pathway?
The great question, Blair. The first thing I would say to you, Blair, is leverage your connection. So being in a semi-pro hockey, and I don't know hockey very well, but I'm sure NHL, some of those individuals came through that pathway. Some of those individuals know individuals in the NHL. So as you begin to look at this and apply for positions, and even if there's no positions that are available, but you're looking to inquire, use your connections within semi-pro hockey to figure out who knows who. And jack of all trades, I like that. Um, that's totally fine. Totally fine. And you have to be that in that setting because when you get to the NHL, because we're not going to say if, Blair, because you're going to get to the NHL, but when you get to the NHL, then it's going to be, hey, they want you to be the best one of those three. And whatever it is, you're going to do that at a high level. So I would say leverage that your relationships with those semi-pro individuals in your setting, but also don't forget it doesn't have to be a therapist, a strength coach, or applied sports scientist that are in your setting or within your league that you know. There's also presidents, GMs, assistant GMs, because all assistant GMs are going to become GMs. All GMs are going to become presidents. And using those relationships now, because 5 years down the line, when they become that, it's going to help you tremendously. That's my answer for you, Blair. And
Awesome.
I saw Roger Hines. I saw your messaging in the chat. Thank you so much. You're too kind, sir. I've looked up to you since day one. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna just read do some of the chat ones here too. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Aurelia, Arielio. Sorry for mispronouncing. Thank you, Blair.
Aurelio,
Oh, there you go.
he was a
Thank you.
member of our CPSS cohort this summer.
Yeah, he was. Of course, I remember him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Ernest, so much for sharing your time, your insight, expertise with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on this Tuesday afternoon. We hope you got a lot out of it. I know I did. I wrote down some notes. I got to write down my mission statement later today. Yeah, with that, we'll wrap it up.
Y'all
We'll
say one
bring
thing,
on,
Daniel.
yeah, please.
I'm sorry. Hillary, you just made me think of something else when you made that statement. You're right. They don't teach you this in the classroom, and they want to teach you everything in the classroom clinically, la 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 la. And no offense to any professors that are on here, anything like that. Great information that you're teaching, but you can't get this in the classroom. And I just talked to somebody else about this today. And when you don't get this in the classroom, and you don't learn how to do this, we don't know how to function when we get into these type of situations. Might it be with other peers, or might it be interprofessional, interdepartmental, and we don't function very well in that capacity. So thanks for saying that. It's so true. It's not taught in the classroom. Sorry to interrupt, Daniel, but I'm so passionate about this stuff, and boom, I'm done now finally.
We love the passion. But yeah, that's it. No better way to wrap it up. They don't teach you this in school. Thank you everyone for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, E.
Thanks, Daniel.